Hey, folks, welcome to the Leeds View podcast. We do these podcasts twice a week on a Tuesday and on a Thursday, along with daily Leeds United news Monday to Friday. We do the odd tactical breakdown. This man beside me does more of them than I do. And we do the instant match reactions straight after a Leeds United game. And we do live watch alongs over on bigup.com. We're part of the Sports Social Network. If you want to follow us on any of the audio platforms, you can do that down below, or give us a channel rating. And if you're on YouTube, you can give us a subscribe and a like or hype if you're watching on demand. And yeah, we'll get cracking with tonight's podcast. Delighted to be joined by Gerry McNamee as per normal, and by Max Covey of Leeds Lately. Full stop. Leeds Lately. Keep pause the Leeds. Your Leeds Lately. To have a little chat about a few bits that have gone on, but before we get into it with the lads, I'll give you the agenda. We're going to talk about the Arsenal game in a small amount. We are going to look ahead to Forest. We are going to talk about the transfer window, but just a little bit, and I'll tell you why in a second. And we are going to look at the business and the fixtures of the sides that will be down there with us and figure out, well, what do we actually have to do and who's actually better off now the window is closed. But the transfer window is officially closed and Copium season is officially open. And between now and the end of the season, we're all going to try and sit on our spreadsheets and figure out where are we going to get the points, what do we need to do, and who do our rivals need to lose to for us to guarantee ourselves another season in the Premier League. The vast majority of people who watch or listen to these podcasts, the vast majority, don't comment, and that's absolutely fine. The ones that do comment, we're listening to you. So there's two sides to the commenters in our comment section. There's the side of them who are basically down and are very angry about the lack of transfer business, and that's absolutely fine to have that opinion. And then there's the side that are asking us, how long are we going to moan about this before we get over it and move on? So here's the deal tonight. We are going to moan about it for a little bit, and then we're going to get over it and we're going to move on and talk about football. But we are going to address it. Not so much a moan, more so a little concerns, or at least seeing where we sit with everybody else. We'll check in with the lads, and we'll start off with Gerry, our resident. Gerry, how are you doing, mate? How's things?
Not too bad. Had a not so great day on last Saturday, but I moved on very quickly after the West Ham game. And yeah, it's all good. Declan Rice is in the Epstein files somewhere, I'm sure of it, but it's not been found yet. Yeah, moving on very quickly from that. Yeah, I was checking transfers and everything. Yeah, all the usual stuff. Sorry, I probably wasn't supposed to say that. Allegedly, but yeah. Just
to be fair, people all know that's a joke because he probably wasn't born.
Yeah, no, I don't
they
know.
better. They better know it's a joke.
Yeah, Thierry Henry wasn't either, but it was it was a mixed weekend, but we're still 6 points clear and moving forward to a big game, and as you say, looking forward to the end of the season, and it's going to be nervous, and that's why we're Leeds fans, and that's ultimately it's going to be a happy ending.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time yesterday over in London with the Finalysis group, and I got a chance to talk to some of the other.
Yeah, saw you on the telly.
Yeah, I'm a big sweaty head under all the lights in the sky. Yeah, it was very warm, very, very warm. But we were talking about things, and they're not. The Nottingham Forest Finalysis, she is incredibly confident they're going to be fine, and thinks Sean Dyche is doing a great job, which a few of us had a second take at. The West Ham fan, he is not so confident, and he talks about their defense being their issue and the fact that they haven't really strengthened their defense. And Crystal Palace fans pretty okay where they are right now, and thinks they've done good business in the window. So mixture across the board, but everyone is very much saying the same thing, keeping one eye over their shoulder. And we are joined by Max from Leeds Lately, and Max tends to do a lot of breakdowns on squad depth and flows of play that teams have, as well as how players fit into stuff. So we'll be picking Max's brain in a minute around the players that have come in. But Max, how are you doing, mate? And thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's always a weird one because we are at a point, like you actually said when you were on Sky, that we haven't really done anything in January for years, really. That's made any kind of difference. So it's kind of more of the same, but it presents a different challenge every season because there's obviously different factors at play, like when you're pushing for a promotion or you're trying to stay up, or in this case, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more when we talk about the transfer window, the fact that we've changed systems means that you actually need backup in places that you didn't need backup until you change systems. So I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit, but that's one of my frustrations about this window.
Yeah, we'll jump straight into it then. We'll just get the overriding thoughts of the lads first, and then we'll have a proper look. I'll throw some stuff up on the screen, and we can have a a proper look at what everybody has done. But Gerry, I suppose this box off one thing straight away and get it out of the way, the Strand Larson situation, because I said it yesterday as well. The information up until this morning was Leeds had a crack at it. It's been confirmed by all the credible sources. Leeds did put in an offer. An official bid was put in. It has been confirmed this morning, though, by Baron Cross and a few others, that Leeds put in a loan offer for Strand Larson until the end of the season with an obligation to buy for that £40 million mark at the end of the season. But they still weren't willing to go over that mark. Leeds see him as a longer-term prospect, and the fact that he became available now was why they went for him, which answers the question as to, well, why didn't they go for somebody else? They don't necessarily want to get anybody in. They wanted a certain player, and he fit that profile to a T as far as they were concerned. My concern, and it is just a concern, it's not a full-on moan, but it is a concern, is we are possibly still a bit light up top. To Max's point again, with the system we're playing, we want to have a second striker up there, then we do need another body, and Joe Pirou isn't the target man of the other two, and Metch has been in and out injured up most of the season. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought to spend that money would have been ridiculous. 48 million as a starter. I would have said no to that. You can understand Wolves probably looking at Championship next year and offloading big earners, whether they have relegation clauses in there or not, I don't know. But
they brought Armstrong, which screams Championship, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and that's probably a good signing for next season. And I think a loan option where there's money on the table from Crystal Palace, you know where that's going, and that's fine. We had a crack at it, but as I said to you last week, I didn't want a case where there's airplanes on the tarmac. There wasn't even that yesterday. There was nothing, and I think that's the concern, is that you don't have to spend 50 million. I don't think anybody's expecting that. I look at Bournemouth; they spent 18 million on a young striker, and he came on and had an assist. And there's players out there, and I'm disappointed that they hadn't got other options, or at least trying for other options. If you look at our transfers in the summer, I think reading lots of comments, and I'm probably picking them up as my own, but as you go along. But I think somebody did say, it might even be you, Chair, saying, what we did buy in the summer and changing the system has worked really well. I think you have concerns about the goalkeeper. Okafor, I think, needs to be better, but overall, they've been good signings, and we just didn't finish it off. And Bonanotte was someone for the summer who we got now, but I thought we should have been topping up. I look at Forest, and they picked up the City goalkeeper, 500k, he played first team a couple of times, and he's decent standard. So I'm just saying there's bargains like that out there at Shopper. I'm not saying we go out and buy 10 players in the Championship, but I think even just for confidence, freshen it up, we probably should have. But we are where we are now, and there's no point in moaning about it. We've got a squad, and the only thing I think, if this squad is all fit and suspension free, which won't happen, I think we're as good as the others. But I think the fans, most of them aren't half. Fark certainly wanted more players in. He intimated, and I think the fact that I think he's got the fans on side now a lot more with the run we've been on. I think he was more confident in saying that. So I don't think anybody's blaming him. And remains to be seen. Does this all work out, or is it a policy where it comes unstuck and we're without Nemetja and Calvert-Lewin up front, and we're saying, my God, that's cost us. Why didn't we go out and get some backup? Or maybe Peru will come in and score 10 goals. It's a dangerous strategy, it really is. And if we beat Forest at the weekend, everybody's, yeah, fine, and we're almost there. If we lose, I think the noise is going to be there. But I'm very much okay. We are fingers crossed, and let's hope everybody's okay, and we can find a goal. Alex Cairns for the rest of the season is in there. is our goalkeeper? No, not really. But I think that's it's Leeds angst as always, and as long as we're 6 points clear every weekend of West Ham, I think it'll be okay. But we get to the end of the season, major overhaul. I think there'll be a lot of movement, but I don't think we can keep doing this. Just disappointing the fans. We got to speculate. I know Sunderland, we'll probably talk about them. I know they've signed someone 21 million, sold them for 16. So, you see bite-sized headlines and what have you, and you think everything's rosy everywhere else. Well, it's not, but I'm hoping and I'm praying that everything's going to be okay, and we just got to get behind it now because we move on.
Yeah, and every sign that comes in the January transfer window isn't a hit. I mean, we go back to last year in the championship, and I was critical of the club at that point, not doing any business in January last year. Finished the season on 100 points, and everyone else around us was signing players to beat the band, and it wasn't enough to get them. And then you go back to the year we were relegated. Whether this player ended up being a disappointment or not, when Weston McKennie came in to Leeds, it looked on paper to be a very good signing. You were getting an international central midfielder who had Champions League experience in Serie A. Little did we know it was going to be the absolute turd that it ended up being.
He's been good since he's gone back to Juventus as
well.
Very
good since he's gone back to Juventus. He has been, But that's
just our luck.
That's the point. It's just different. I mean, we've seen it with our own goalkeeper and people this year. Not every player adapts to every league and works out well. So it can be the environment as well. So it's not a guaranteed hit, but it's is it a case, Max, now looking at it of we're just keeping our powder dry? And do we need? And again, this is all. Before someone loses their mind in the comments, this is all just being objective and being devil's advocate for a minute. Do we need to go and do business every single January, or is the entertainment factor of deadline day a part of the disappointment with this? Because the club did say in the summer that they wanted to avoid January full stop. They didn't want to do business in January. They clearly don't like doing business in January. It's a seller's market. We know it's a difficult market. They wanted Buonanotte in the summer. They didn't get him. They tried to get Wilson instead of him. Didn't get him. But they've got Buonanotte now. So if you go back to the summer, Leeds have pretty much checked off what they wanted to get done in the summer. Therefore, didn't need to do anything else in the winter window by their own logic.
Yeah, it's always a difficult one because you can see that they were at the club, the 49ers, in the season where Bielsa got sacked. And that was the season where he was offered Harry Winks and some other players who have kind of swum around in the championship since. Yeah. And it's like we tried to do it on the cheap then, and they should have kind of learnt from that. Now, I get what you're saying where they've said, we don't want to do anything in a January window. But that is predicated on getting everything you wanted to do in the summer done. And Farke, like Gerry said before about the fact that he's expressed frustrations about not getting everything, he expressed that at the end of the summer window and said, we still need more. You haven't given me all the tools I need to succeed, and I will do the best with what I've got. So when you get to January, you go, okay, so what can we do to help? We'll get you Buonanotte, who you wanted in the summer. But then after that, like you said, it's kind of been Strand Larsen or nothing. But like Gerry said, there is bargains to be had, no matter kind of, especially, we talk about the seller's market, don't we, in January, but it's also the month where players have got 6 months left on the contract. So that's when you can start to get those deals through the door. And it's frustrating that they kind of, we know that they kind of ran out of money, don't we, in the summer? And supposedly we have around 7 million left within, within PSR. So that's why we've gone for that loan with Strand Larsen until the end of the season, probably.
Yeah, there was a 7 million upfront, I think 7 or 10 million upfront fee, loan fee or something like that. They were going to put
which
in.
I think is why we were haggling for Harry Wilson at the end of the summer window as well, trying to get that done under that amount so that we didn't break the rules. So then when we've come into this window, it's clear that we have tried to loan players, but there's just, I know that there's bargains to be had. And I know, of course, you two will know a lot about Troy Parrott. That was one that was linked, where when you're talking about the type of striker that we have, so you've got Calvert-Lewin and Mecha, both very good hold-up players. But usually, I mean, the quintessential little and large is like your Jermaine Defoe and Peter Crouch style thing. To the less extreme, you have a runner and a hold-up player, and Troy Parrott could be the runner for a hold-up player and go and make those runs in behind because he's a bit more mobile. Obviously, he would still have cost a bit of money, but again, potentially you could have put the offer there for a loan to buy or something like that. Like, I think there was other options out there, but it's just they seem like they're like very hard and fast with their rules of we will not buy anyone and we will have a specific set player, and if we don't get them, we don't get them. But having that kind of like totalitarian viewpoint on things is not good as a football club, because you have to have backups on backups, otherwise you'll never sign anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. I think the Troy Barrett one's an interesting one because he's slightly faster than Joe Pirou, but you could argue Joe Pirou should be working quite well in it too as well, but hasn't been used at all this year in it too. He might have to. I would not be against seeing Calvert-Lewin and Joe Pirou up front together as a two against Nottingham Forest. I think I would like to see that. But Jay, part of this is the PSR stuff is there, whether people believe it or not, whether we want to believe it or not, it's a factor. A lot of clubs are in the same bracket. Yes, West Ham brought in players, but they also got rid of players as well this window. And that's probably been a factor that's been dragging Leeds down a little bit. Leeds have had a real problem getting rid of players and not just getting rid of players, but from our sake, and maybe in the club's perspective, and I hate saying this, but maybe there's a need to park sentimentality at times at certain moments in your history of your club and be a bit more ruthless with things, because Joe Pirou isn't playing football. I like Joe Pirou. El Tanaka, I love him. Anyone who knows me knows I love El Tanaka, but he's not playing football right now either. You've got Elan Melier, who they didn't sell last summer. Looks like that's a massive mistake. Now he's probably going to sign a pre-contract agreement in the next couple of weeks, or he'll leave, just walk out the door in the summer. He's gone for nothing. Carl Darlow's out of contract in the summer. They're not bringing any money. And Jack Harrison's gone off for a loan with a pittance of an option to buy them. So Leeds have had a real issue selling players and trying to get value for them as well. So is that part of the problem as well? We don't have huge amounts of money to spend because we can't sell players.
Yeah, it's sins of the past as well. You know, I think we're always battling this PSR, and maybe they've managed it really well, because you could easily spend the money, go for it, and then you're docked points, and that could cost you. It comes back to haunt you. I have to say, Troy Parrott will probably be well out of our range after we win the World Cup this summer. He'll be £100 million player. But there's a player. You're right, Max. He's a player on form. Player top of his game at the moment. Probably doesn't want any disruption for the World Cup. He's nicely set up and all that, but that's another podcast and another worry. But yeah, there's players. There was Willie's there as well. He's not getting a game. We probably need to cash in. I don't want to see anybody leave. And you're right, Pirou. I really want him to do well this year. But if it's not working, or they're not getting games, then you have to mix it up a bit. I think in the summer, if we stay up, and hopefully we do, I think there will be a lot of movement. I think when we get the next tranche of cash in from the Premier League and all that goes with it and everything else, I hope and I think there'll be a lot of movement, and players, as you say, end of the contracts, and we got to do that. We got to move. We can't rest on our laurels, because we've done pretty well this season, but we know the first season back can be okay sometimes. Second season is the hardest, and we learned that, and I think other teams have as well. So we got to manage it, but we got this squad now, and we got to manage them, and we got to use Tanaka. They need to step up. Willie, they need to step up. Pirou, if they want to stay with Leeds and want to be Premier League players, that's the challenge to them now as well. But a lot of movement in the summer, definitely. We really, really want to see quality, and you realise what you get for 15-20 million now. It's a very average price, and we can see that in the goalkeepers. You got to be spending the 30-40 million. It's obscene, but that's the way it is. And
I do think that the way that we've spent in the summer has given us a bit of a base to basically go, we don't need to buy a whole squad now.
We've shopped well. Yeah.
Bringing in players like Anton Stack and basically the spine of the team, Jakub, Anton Stack, Calvert-Lewin, for example. Those players are players that didn't really cost us that much. But now in the summer, like you say, Gerry, you can get a better player for a bit more money. You don't have to be so frugal with your spending to say, we have to get deals on the cheap to be able to get the quantity of players that we need. I think in the summer, if we do stay up, which I'm hoping we do, and I think we will, you can then look at going, okay, we can drop 30 million on this player, 40 million on this one, and 20 million on this one. And that can be our summer window with three really strong. Like when Newcastle brought Bruno Guimaraes from Lyon for about 40 million. That's the kind of making the step up transfer, and I don't think Radrizzani ever had the money to do that.
No. We did.
Just playing the market as well, though. Like you can be cute. And again, if you look at like Calvert-Lewin on a free transfer was smart. And again, I go back to something Jose Mourinho said at a Champions League final a few years ago. He said footballers are now learning that they can make more money by managing their own contracts. So you have a lot of players now at the time. He said you'll see more and more of this, and it has started to happen where players are looking at their contracts going, well, I'm not going to sign a new deal and I'm not going to move. I'm going to wait until my deal's up. And then I'm going to pick where I want to go next, not where you are accepting bids from. Yeah. And you can play that market quite a lot. I mean, look at Danilo Duki, whether he be a very good Premier League centre-half or not, you won't know until he gets here. But plenty of clubs looking at him. He's decided to wind his contract down. He'll be a free agent in the summer. You know, and there will be other players that pop up in that bracket as well. And Harry Wilson's another one that Leeds have looked at consistently out of contract in the summer. He's going to play the market as well. So if you're smart and you can bring in a couple of those bodies for nothing,
I wouldn't be shocked if we do sign a couple of pre-contract agreements.
I think we'll have a couple of freebies coming in this summer as well. Yeah. And then you can go, and again, as you said, put that 30, 40 million down. Because, I mean, if Leeds' budget was 105 million last summer, and we're offering 40 million, and if you were to go all the way with Strand Larson, 48 million, that's half your budget on one player, you're done. That's your window. Like, you know, your squad's not getting a huge amount better. So you've got to box a little bit clever as well. But, I mean, Personally, I would have rather Leeds bought a couple of loans in, maybe or another loan in one position. We'll get to this, actually, Max. We'll have a look at this. This is what everyone's done. Now, if I'm missing one or two, let me know. I'll try and amend it. But this is from what I could see, are the transfers done. The Luca Nets one in Nottingham Forest is a very smart bit of business. I think it cost them 3.5, 4 million quid.
Is he from Gladbach?
Leeds. Yeah, Leeds. And the player Leeds had looked at a couple of times as well. So... Yeah. That's a smart move. That, you know, but he could be going in to play football. They're stockpiling. They've got 4 first-choice goalkeepers there now. We've got 4 goalkeepers, but one is Alex Kearns, one is Ilan Meslier, one is leaving, and one's never playing. And you've got Carl Darley, whose contract's running down, and then you've got Lucas Perry, who you spent money on. They have 4 first-choice goalkeepers over the age of 29, which is incredible. They're stockpiling certain players. They haven't gotten rid of anyone. But if you look across the ins, we'll get to the outs in a second, but looking at the ins, what those sides have brought in, specifically the 2 right below us, but I think Palace are very much in the mix with this. Max, looking at that, would you say, and it is only on paper, and I get that, it's hypothetical right now until we see how they play, but have they improved their squads to be better than what we've got right now? Are those players better than what we have?
Well, there's an argument that at least Forest and Palace's squad was already better than ours before any signings in January. I think West Ham's debatable. But I think with West Ham especially, I think the like case study to look at with West Ham here is when Wolves lost Mateus Cunha to Man United. He was their guy that created chances for them and put the ball in the box for people to score goals. And they've been shocking and not barely created anything since. They've lost Lucas Paqueta, West Ham. And yes, he had his issues and there was a lot of stuff swimming around him. They've got rid of him.
Maker.
Adama Traore isn't going to create his own chances necessarily. He's going to be one of the guys who kind of gets down the wing, beat a man, splays it into Rosette. He's been his kind of career path, really. And they've signed a couple of strikers and a centre-back. So what I'm seeing from West Ham is that they haven't replaced that creativity. And also, I did not know that James Ward-Prowse had gone. Where did he go?
Is it Burnley?
Yeah. Burnley. Right.
What's interesting there, though, is that they were pretty tight at the back anyway, West Ham. And they've let Igor Julio go back from his loan. And they've signed Axel Disasi instead. So they've only gone like for like there. They haven't strengthened that position.
Yeah.
Disasi's been playing under-21 football all year. He wasn't even registered in Chelsea's squad. So he has a bit of work to do to get up to speed. And now they've got Todibo with a straight red card. So he's missing the next 3.
Yeah.
So
I think West Ham are weaker than they were at the start of the January window.
So, yeah, I don't think they've got problems going forward. And it's debate. It, again, depends on how Felipe and Tati Castellanos settle in there. Castellanos looks decent in what I've seen of him so far. But
was he the one we were linked with years ago?
Yeah, we had a very quick look at him. Yeah, again this summer as well. But their defense is their problem. They're conceding too many goals.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the likes of Forest, they haven't let anyone go, so they can only really strengthen, adding more bodies to the squad. So I don't think they'll have they'll have too much of an issue. But when you actually look at it, I know Nuno was at Forest, but when you actually look at it, it just does seem like Dyche should be a West Ham manager and Nuno should be a Forest manager, doesn't it? Like, it just feels like it's the wrong way around.
A lot of Forest fans that I know, and I'm meeting them before the game this week, they really dislike Dyche and the standard of football. They would gladly see him gone. So that's interesting, both sides of it. James Ward-Prowse, there's someone whose stock has dropped a lot in the last few years. He was an international and scoring free kicks for fun. I always thought someone would pick him up. But
apparently he's a victim of circumstances there, because he went on loan to Forest last year when Nuno was there, and Nuno just didn't like it straight away. There was an issue, so he sent him back. And then Nuno takes over West Ham, and the first thing he did was drop Ward-Prowse from the squad immediately.
He goes on, no, Forest, they've shopped around, as you say. We could have done with a backup fullback, but we've not got that now. Palace just seem a bit chaotic. You would think with Mateta's staying and they brought in a guy from Villa, would they have gone for Larson? It seemed a bit chaotic, the whole thing. Are they a bit top heavy? Brendan Johnson, he's been hit and miss when he started, but they've dropped the guts of 80-90 million. So and a team that the manager's leaving and they look a bit chaotic. Although they got Key gone, so that money there.
Guessand on loan from Villa?
Yeah, he's on loan with an obligation.
Because he only signed in the summer, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But there's an obligation to buy, I think, at the end of the season, 20 million.
Because we also looked at him. We were in the race for him at one point, I think, as that kind of winger striker ability to play both.
Callum Wendu went to Forest. We looked at him as well, and he's gone to Frankfurt, and he's doing great there. So these players that came in the summer, all of them haven't exactly hit the ground running. And some clubs have made very quick decisions on them. But like, if you look at us, Gerry, we've only brought in Buonanotte and Harrison's gone out. We've replaced a player with a similar, well, not a similar type of player, but a wide player who can play as a 10. With Buonanotte. It's an upgrade on the position.
I think Jack, we all knew Jack had to go, really, just for his own benefit and theirs. And hopefully he plays well in Italy and we get some money for him. I think that's the best outcome. Buonanotte, somebody said to me the other day, well, he's a waste of space, isn't he? There's 2 games, he was rubbish. And I thought, you got 5 minutes or 10 minutes against Everton and come on against a rampant Arsenal. Give the lad a chance.
He's probably played less minutes than Jean-Kevin Augustin.
He probably has. Nobody's played more minutes or less minutes than him, is that right? Yeah, but anyway, that just shows you what January transfer window can do as well. But we haven't seen him yet, so we can't know. But he's a decent player, and we've seen him before. So it's hard to judge. You can only judge this business in 2-3 months' time, and if somebody goes on a run. Remember when Newcastle played us just before they got the money, or when they got the money a few years ago, and they were in the bottom 3, spent the money, and it got them out of trouble. I know that's an extreme, but it just shows you when you can buy quality, it will help you out. And we're all looking for winners. We're all looking for that gem that nobody's seen, and we've not found it or chose not to spend it. But as I say, we've got what we've got now. And if everybody stays fit and healthy and no red cards, which we haven't had for about 2 seasons, which means we'll have one on Friday night now.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
There is one player that I'd have loved Leeds to have a look at, and he fits now more than he did in the summer. I made a video on him in the summer. We weren't linked or anything, but he plays for Union Saint-Gilloise in the Belgian league. Promise David, the Canadian striker.
I was talking about yesterday.
He's huge, he's strong, he's physical, he's perfectly fit, and he's ripping it up this season.
That sounds like poetry, not only the name of the team, but the name of the player.
Yeah.
Let's just say that again. It was beautiful.
We were talking yesterday about players we would have liked, and I said, Promise David is one that ticks the boxes, because not only is he big, good in the air, good hold up, he's very quick as well. He can get in behind as well, and as a 2. And I think we were, again, whether it was a real link or not, I think he was mentioned during the summer as well. But absolutely, I think that's exactly the kind of player, because he's a bit more of a hybrid than a standard hold up.
Yeah, and I think he's only about 22, 23.
Yeah, he's got time as well. So it'd be an interesting one.
There's always the odd gem. I don't understand why people don't shop as well in the Championship. I mentioned this guy before at Norwich, McCanna, and I just think he's ripping it up. He's scoring every week, and players like that, you should be taking a punt on. Just bring them into the squad. They're not expecting to start, but can make an impact. So that's the disappointment overall.
I do think it says a lot about what Farke thinks of his squad, the way that the striker situation is working at the moment, in the fact that he's obviously wanted Strand Larsen. I mean, Calvert-Lewin is first name on the team sheet, but then next to him, he seems reluctant. I know Metcher's had injuries, but he seems reluctant to play Metcher alongside him anymore. Seems very reluctant to play.
I think it's because of minutes. I think it's because he's managing Metcher's minutes, and I think if he plays the two of them and they both get injured, he doesn't have a backup, and I think Metcher's his backup if he needs it.
Yeah. Well, after that, it would have been Okafor, but he's kind of fallen out of favour a little bit as well. So now it's Brendan Aronson. But that kind of defeats the point of the 2-striker system, which is what was working about this 3/5 at the back. Yeah. And I liked doing that 2 strikers up front. I thought when we first started with it, Metcher and Calvert-Lewin were bullying centre-backs and really putting their weight about. But we haven't really seen that since when we had that against Chelsea, I think it was. We really got at them.
We battered them. And the issue has been Metcher's not been fully fit since then. And that's been the problem. Yeah. And that's the issue. But
Brendan's not bullying anybody. Yeah, Brendan's not bullying anybody, is he?
Maybe the ball boy.
Full stop. I'm on a big full stop here now on the transfer window. We're done with it now.
I'm shut.
We're moving forward. We have what we have. We will go what we go. We will revisit this at the end of the season, and then we'll have another moan if it's a disaster that backfires. And if it doesn't, we'll say, clever bit of business by Leeds. What the hell do we know about football? And we'll get into it then, and Leeds have a few extra quid in their pocket to hopefully bring in some difference makers in the summer, because as Max has already said, the defensive side of things is there. Now we can go ahead and try and build the attacking side for the summer. Right, let's go in and talk about the football we had. I don't want to spend too long on this because I don't think we should. We got absolutely stuffed by Arsenal at the weekend. We have a minus 11 goal difference this season. 9 of them came from against Arsenal, which means Leeds' goal difference isn't in a bad position when you take Arsenal out of the equation, which means our defensive record so far this season, outside those 2 games, is pretty decent. But we all had to worry. Forest have come level with us, but we're level on goal difference. We're just ahead on, well, we shouldn't be ahead of its alphabetical order. We're ahead on something, but we're just above them.
Goals scored.
26 points. Goals scored. Yeah. Which, there we go. Yeah. Great stuff. That tells you how tight it is. You're going on the goal scored. But we are still 6 points plus goal difference ahead of West Ham. So it is still minimum 2 results plus goal difference. So there's possibly 3 results in there of a difference. There's a lot of games coming up. So far this month, Gerry, we've got 3 points against Fulham, 1 against Everton, 4 points out of a potential at 9 points so far. But if we can get a win against Forest, that's a very decent month at the end of it. But it is all caveated on if we beat Forest. I would like to fly to the UK on Friday and not be disappointed twice going to the UK in the 1 week. That would be outstanding. Is this a must-win game, Gerry?
I think it is. In terms of what we've just been discussing, to show the fans we're fine. I think if we do win, it's a big step towards safety. I think if we can stop looking over our shoulder, which we won't, we need another 14 points probably. And if you look at games coming up, then they're easily there. But I think this one, just for our own health and our own minds, I think we need to push Forest back and keep this. I think the whole thing every weekend. I mean, Arsenal was totally stuffed, but on Saturday evening we were still 6 points ahead of West Ham, which was the most important thing. So I think we've got to win. I think at home under the lights. Forest, they've got their reserve goalkeeper Nico Williams. He's missing suspension. That was a great save. I think Dyche will come and probably try and defend. But I think we've got the beating of them. It'll be different. The last time we played Forest, we took the lead, but I think that was towards the end of our bad run. And
we're at home.
I think we're a different proposition, and I think they'll favour us a bit. A win would just be incredible, because when you look at the next 3 games, tough. And I think we've got. It's going to tighten up. There's going to be times that West Ham and Forest have got games that are very winnable, and we're playing Man City or whatever away, somebody hard. Some week we might be home to Wolves, which could lose, but winnable games. stretches it out again. So we just got to maintain that, and I think winning this one maintains that gap for another week. And then if you can nick anything off the 3 games coming up, it's a bonus. I think that's the way we got to look at it. Yeah.
Who wants some copium before we go into the end of the season? I'll give you something to cling on to, because Jerry's made a very good point. There's 14 games left between now and the end of the season. That's the games on screen. Those who are watching, there's the fixtures that are left for all of the sides. And there's a lot of similarities in the fixtures that we've all got. We all pretty much have to play each other as well. So there are 6-pointers mixed in with that as well. Max, 14 points. It's less than 4 wins and 2 draws. Or if you want to just go for, I'll give you the numbers, right? 21-22 season, 38 points survived. To get to 38 points, Leeds need 3 wins, 3 draws. We should be, I shouldn't say that out loud, but if we can get 3 wins and 3 draws in 14 fixtures, that's 6 results in 14. If you want to go a year later, 22-23, we went down on 31, but 36 points would have saved us. 23-24, 32 points was the number. 24-25, 38 points was the number. You have to go back to 2016-2017 season where 40 points was needed to stay in the Premier League. So nearly 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So if Leeds want to get to 38 points, it's 3 wins and 3 draws. If Leeds would like to get to 41 points, 4 wins and 3 draws. We'll do it. You look there, and if you look at the home fixture specifically, if you can beat Forest, and I'm saying if right now, Sunderland, Wolves, Burnley, and then pick up 3 draws somewhere else.
Yeah, it's... The thing is, this feels like a season where, other than Wolves,
it's gonna be more than 40. It's gonna be more. Than 40.
Yeah, nobody's been completely dreadful. Like the last couple of seasons when all the promoted teams have gone back down again. It feels like this season is one where it's going to be a real fight to the end, which is just sod's law that it's when Leeds get promoted, isn't it? It always is. Like Gerry was saying before, we won't just peel away like it's Leeds, so we'll be hanging on by the skin of our teeth for the whole way. It'll be a white knuckle roller coaster ride. But I think psychologically the Forest win is huge as well, if we can do it, because once you've done that, you've got Chelsea, Villa, City. Yes, you've got Sunderland, and I think
at home.
Yeah, it's that 3-game thing after this. If we can get 3 points, you're not really expected to get anything out of Chelsea, Villa, and Man City. But then you look at that. That is where our season lies, I think, after the Man City game. Sunderland, Palace, Brentford, ignore Man United, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Burnley. That stretch there, we could either come out of that with a load of wins, or we could come out of it going, oh my God, we should have picked up more points during that.
Why must I a striker in a transfer window?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, really. I think after this Forest game, I'm not expecting much from Chelsea, Villa, and City, but that period of like 5 or 6 games there, and obviously West Ham on the final day, I'm hoping to be safe by the end of the Burnley game.
Yeah, I think Brighton is a home match, by the way, the second last one.
Oh, is it? Sorry, I've done this in a way. I should be home. Sorry, my bad.
Let's go to West Ham and have a party and not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fingers crossed. Jerry, there's that interesting block is there, because we've said for weeks now, the gap might get smaller before it gets bigger. So it might get a little bit squeaky before it starts to open up again. And then that 3-game block that Max has pointed out there are away to Chelsea, away to Villa, home to Manchester City. That's the one we look. We'll go, there's 9 points up for grabs there. If we don't get anything from them, then West Ham and Forest could easily pick up points. But if you look at what in that 3-game block as well, West Ham, have Manchester United, Bournemouth, and Liverpool, right? And I've got 3 H's there, which I'm pretty sure they're not all home games. So I probably made a mistake there as well. But they're the 3 games anyway they've got coming up. Then you look at Forest, and they've got Wolves, Liverpool, Brighton. Liverpool and Brighton won't be straightforward for them. Crystal Palace, Burnley, Wolves, Man United, slightly easier run for Crystal Palace. They might be able to open a bit of a gap. And then Spurs have got Newcastle, Arsenal, and Fulham. Not great games the way they're going right now. They still only got 2 wins at home all season. So even in that block where we've got tough games, there's still droppable points for everybody else. So you might come out of it still a couple of points. You might not, but you might come out a couple of points above. And then, as Max again has rightly said, you go into Sunderland at home. It's a home game. Crystal Palace away, that's a 6-pointer. Comes a 6-pointer. Brentford back at home. We possibly should have beaten them away. They've had a great season. And then you look at the last 6 for me, for everybody is really key. Leeds last 6. Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, home to Burnley, away to Spurs, home to Brighton, away to West Ham. West Ham's last 6, Crystal Palace, Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds. There's more trickier games in there. Nottingham Forest's last 6, Burnley, Sunderland, Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester United, Bournemouth. Crystal Palace have got West Ham, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Everton, Brentford, and Arsenal. And Spurs have got Brighton, Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, and Everton. So
I've only just noticed, by the way, that Spurs are involved in this, and having looked at this, I've been so concentrated on Leeds that looking at the league table, I'm like, oh my god, Spurs are down there for another season.
Yep. And it's tighter again. Like they survived last season on 38 points. They're the ones that stayed up, so that could get squeaky.
I don't think I don't think we get any change out of them away, by the way, as well, because they always seem to turn up and batter us when.
Yeah, historically, but they, as I said, they have only won twice at home this season, and you saw the atmosphere before they scored at the weekend against Manchester. So you thought about, is this a library? It was deathly quiet in that ground. It was eerie. So you never know. But I mean, there will be shocks here, and there will be mistakes that happen here. Like there's games we'll go into and go, we'll beat Wolves at home, we'll beat Burnley at home, we could lose both of those, and you're going with 6 points somewhere else along the way. So it's never a straightforward message, but I'd much rather have our last 6 than the rest of them in the last 6.
But I refer my learned friends to last October, November, when we had an horrendous run and we were unbeaten and we got some mad results out of it. So it just shows you can think, oh, we probably beat Man City at home and lose at home to Wolves. That's the Premier League for you. But it's the next 3 games out. That's why we should win on Friday night. And the next 3 games, if we can get anything from those at all, it's bonus time. And if we lose all 3 and West Ham lose all 3, then it's okay. And that's the way to look at it at the moment. Or else ignore West Ham and then just look at the games you're going to win. It's not easy with every way. You try everything. I try everything. I try medication. I try meditation. Just try optimism and pessimism, and it still ends up the same. I'm worried. So it's gonna go. But as long as we can go to West Ham and have a party, that's all I care about, and that's all over.
Leeds fans, pessimism will always find its way into the back of your head and force its way through to the front. It's like a very aggressive fan back of a stadium pushing their way through to the front. Again, it's gonna get there at some point. So look.
Well, West Ham went down on 42 points one year. Just remember that with a decent team. So,
like I know, saying these things again.
It's going to happen again. It could be this year. You would never know. Anyway,
it could collapse. These teams could collapse as well. Their signs. I'm very interested to see how Lorenzo Luca gets on at Nottingham Forest, because Andrea spoke to me about him. He's a 6'6", 6'7" striker, so he's very much a Sean Dyche wet dream. Yeah. But he has a bit of an attitude problem, as Andrea put it. He is caused problems, and the Italians were very happy to see him leave the country, not just the club, the country. So, and he's coming into he's coming into the UK it's still a cold month, February. So he's gonna probably want his snood and his gloves, and Sean Dyche has banned them at Nottingham Forest. So just
he wants to ban towels as well, doesn't he, on the touchline? Did you see that?
Yeah. Did you hear his comment about the in-stadium things as well? Like, what's the point of these referees and the microphones for the in-stadium announcements? Like, who's that for? We don't. Like, it's pointless. It's like, it's for the fans, Sean, who've been saying for years they've no idea what's going on there.
Yeah,
that's who it's for. Maybe don't just think about yourself all the time. You know.
I think he just loves to have something to moan about. To be honest, he'll go through a list of things and pick which one. Did you see? Scott Parker getting briefed by the media guy about what questions he was going to ask, by the way.
We didn't see that.
Burnley's official account posted like behind the scenes, and the guy was saying, oh, so do you think you'll be, if you get asked about the transfer window, what are you going to say? And he was like, well, there's not really much going on, is there? And the guy was like, no, so you can just say whether you're happy or not with that or whatever. And I'm like, we shouldn't be seeing this. This is so weird. Yeah. It was like very Brent, like the Office style. Like, what is like? Why are we seeing this?
The media team managing the situation before
it's the most tin pot thing I've seen from a Premier League club.
Well, it's, you know what? It's Scott Parker's like, Scott, don't do what you did at Bournemouth. Don't sit down at a press conference and say the squad isn't good enough to stay in the Premier League, because you'll be fired the following week. So don't do that this time. So
he was managing him. He was slagging them off last night. He said it wasn't good enough after the Sunderland game. So I'm thinking hopefully there'll be a reaction. I'm hoping
Oh,
that
you'd hope
against West
so.
Ham.
But maybe
Yeah,
they
but he
sacked
said
their
not
new
good enough when I
management.
played. Blah blah blah. This is not, you've tried hard and failed. Blah, but he basically was saying they didn't try hard. Yeah, which
Did
is
he
not
not
good.
just say earlier on the season that he had a hard-working side and he would
Yeah,
never question their work ethic, but maybe they didn't have the quality to stay in the league? And you're like,
yeah.
and then you're questioning their hard work ethic. So there's not
I
an awful
think
lot left after that.
I think he's just discovered that there's no fashion shops in Burnley. I think that's it. Yes, pre
Cost about
19
4 grand on a
post
jacket.
1970. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's he can't get his blardigans beside
Well, I
him.
mean, well, I didn't even include them in the fixture list, and I didn't include them in the transfers. That's where my head's at with them. They're very much
Yeah,
planning for the
I
championship
think.
as well. Same
Yeah,
with Wolverhampton. I mean, when Wolverhampton Wanderers bought Armstrong yesterday, I was like, that is the
yeah.
most
I
where
thought
we
that.
know where our fate is already. The flag is
Yeah,
To
not
be
only being
fair, credit to
waved.
them for actually preparing for it, because a lot of
yeah,
Yeah,
clubs are so kind of in
but in this
denial that they're going to
PSR
go
window as
down.
well. So
yeah.
well,
No, I
it's
think he's a
smart to
good
do it like
Yeah.
signing.
this. Yeah,
He's
it's
a
fit him in
he's
this
a good
PSR window when you've
championship.
got the money. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
a good
wonder if
championship player.
I wonder if he's just so thick that he thinks he's like signing a Premier League. I'm going to be a Premier League player. He doesn't know they're going to get relegated instantly and go
I
back to
think he
being a
knows.
Championship player again.
I think he knows.
I think he's smart. I think he knows what he's doing. I think it's the opposite. I think he knows. Well, I can go into a Premier League side. I can get a Premier League wage for a bit. I'll take
Yeah,
the
or maybe he's
the
playing the long
Championship.
game of going to the Premier League to get relegated, to get promoted again, to then be a Premier League footballer.
And then get
Well,
sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although he's going to
most of them,
Wolverhampton, that's admirable. Yeah,
well,
that's
it
a
is in
nice
its
place
own.
to
Yeah,
live. Yeah,
it worked for Jan Arge Fjordtoft for years back in the day. For those who know who he remember him,
yeah, I remember
it
him.
worked for him
Yeah,
for
I
years.
don't.
He kept signing for all the sides down the bottom of the league for years. He'd go down, he'd
Swindon,
pick back up again. So
Barnsley. Yeah, he did.
Swindon, Barnsley, yeah, he bounced around
Yeah,
as well. But yeah, and he was a decent striker. Right, I think we'll wrap it up there, folks. So there's your copium for this evening. We only need 3 wins and 3 draws to get to 48, 4 wins and 3 draws to get to 41, or 38 and 41, sorry, 38 and 41.
yeah.
So if we can get to 4 wins in our remaining 14 fixtures plus 3 draws, that's
Yeah.
7 results.
Before we go, does that kind of compute with what the rest of the season we've played 24 and won 6? So in
Yeah, it's a bit of work.
in 14 to win 4,
3 and
and
12.
mathematically it's more likely that we would win 3 in that
But if
14.
you go back, some of
I
those
suppose
away
we were.
games were games we should have been looking at winning. Losing to Burnley away from home was a game. Dropping
Yeah.
points to Fulham away was a problem as well. We could have got a draw in that game at least. There's another point. So these games are all coming at home. So there's
Yeah.
the opportunity to flip them now and do enough. Sunderland away. We should have won that game. Get them at home.
Yeah.
So there's chances to flip it, and the home form becomes really important because we've done so well against the sides in the top half of the table at home. Now we're going to start playing the sides that are down there with us at home, and that for me is where the change will happen. The one thing we need to hope for is Dominic Calvert-Lewin is wrapped in bubble wrap. There's a little please handle with care sign wrapped around his neck, and we get no major injuries in the attack.
And he doesn't hit the post as well.
Yeah,
Well, I can
yeah.
forgive him for that because at least he got in the right place, but he'll score
Yeah.
goals as long as he stays fit.
Just a little tidbit. We were talking to Dan James on Saturday, bumped into him, as you do, name dropping, and he said he's fit and he's ready. He's ready.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
ready
there you
to
go.
go.
There's a
Hey,
new signing.
he
I
said,
knew
"How
where
you,
he-
Jerry? I'm ready." Yeah, I expect Longstaff to be back in as well. I think.
I think Longstaff could start against Forest as well.
Yeah, and probably
Get some good
Darlow
players
as well.
back at the right time as well. We need BL back. Vitally important to get BL back soon.
Yes.
But, we're approaching the end. So we'll wrap it up there, folks. Massive thank you as always for supporting the channel. Give us a channel rating if you're listening on the audios. If you're watching on YouTube, you want to give us a like, stick a comment down below. Let us know your copium mechanisms for the remainder of this season. And massive thanks to Gerry for joining me. There won't be a watch along this week because I'm actually going to the game with this man. So we'll be at the
Yes, we're going to be there hugging each other.
Yeah. Paul's going as well. So we'll
And
see.
during the game as well. Yeah.
Probably. Well, I was trying to bite my lip if we score a goal. You can check this man, Max, over on Leeds lately. So Max has his own YouTube channel. He's been on this channel loads of times before. If you want more tactical breakdowns and stuff and more information on players and what they can do and what they can do, you can check him out at Leeds lately. Details for that are down below. Max, thanks for taking time out of your evening to join us tonight. And Jerry, thanks to you. And we'll be back on Thursday with the next podcast tomorrow morning with the news. And we'll talk to you then. Enjoy yourselves in your evening. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.